Brad, do you have a topic for us?
Yeah, we're here. We're here to talk about Deandre Ayton.
It got ugly last night.
It got bad,
It got
and I was there
gross.
live. I got to see it with my own two eyes
What-
how awful it was.
What was the energy like in that building?
Well, here's the thing. It was such a strange game because we had these like insane highs of Scoot scoring 39.
Yeah.
And then we'd look up and be like, "Oh, we're down 20 to the Nets." It was a strange game to be at because it was everything we wanted from Scoot, but the one thing, and this sounds like we're exaggerating, the one thing holding it back, as we've talked about, the one thing that's kind of been holding this team back in general for a lot of the season was Deandre Ayton.
Right.
And I think last night was the breaking point for Blazer fans in general.
It felt like we were truly playing 4-on-5 out there.
Yes.
Where people, you have Noah Clowney coming down the court and just absolutely cooking with wide open threes or layups, transition dunks. We're so bad in transition last night. It was crazy.
Yeah, horrible.
It was everything that was bad about Maiden just made even bigger and even worse. Like It was kind of just like a balloon starting to blow up, and it felt like someone pumped a ton of air into it last night.
100%. It was his worst tendencies at its worst.
Yes.
And it's rare that you see a guy who can so single-handedly affect the outcome of a game.
Yeah.
And I want all of our viewers and listeners to realize that we're not exaggerating. It was the kind of game where you sound the goddamn alarm.
Yeah.
And you go like, oh, this isn't going to work.
No.
Because as Blazer fans, we've been wanting it to work, understandably, because we're low on talent. We have a 7-footer who was the number 1 pick and started on a championship team.
Yeah.
But it didn't work there. It doesn't look like it's going to work here anymore.
No. It's not working both on the court and definitely off the court. I mean, we've talked about how his ability on the court, he's got the jump shot, it's the gimmick, he's great at the mid-range, unbelievable.
Yeah.
Right? But when you can't rim protect, there's just really no spot for you long-term in the NBA, and you're not going to
100%.
contribute to winning basketball. I think his purpose, is serving a bit of a purpose right now, as like Hyken put it the other day, he's an innings eater.
Yeah.
So he's taking minutes while Clingan kind of comes into his own, while Rob will figures out like if he could be like a working human. We just need a placeholder right now. That's what Deandre Ayton is right now. Is he's a placeholder, and I think that's why he was brought here, and that might be why someone else grabs onto him and takes him in a trade. I'm sick of that place being held by a complete cancer and by a complete
100%.
stick in the mud.
100%. Because here's what's so strange about Deandre Ayton and why I think this is the biggest worry about him. He doesn't seem to be convinced that he's not trying. If this was a guy, because we've seen plenty of guys who've gone to the NBA court and clearly been low effort, and they're well aware of it.
Yeah.
Ayton doesn't seem to think he's the problem.
No.
He is missing defensive assignments. It was genuinely insane to see the difference from when he was in the game and when Clingan was in the game. I went to my brother. I went to my girlfriend. I was like, Clingan's in the game now. Watch us all of a sudden protect the paint. Or Ayton's in the game now. Watch how we start protecting the paint. And it was easy access to literally wide open layups. And every time that would happen, it wasn't this like, I don't care type of thing. He was looking at Scoot. He was looking at Chauncey saying, that was you guys.
He's like clapping at him.
Me.
He's actually like clapping, like get on your ass. Like, what are you saying? You're manic.
And that's where it feels like it's the placeholder its place has been held for too long.
Yeah.
It no longer is serving its purpose in a way that isn't detrimental to the team.
Yeah. He's clearly sucking the energy. I mean, Chauncey Billups has to just be like losing his goddamn mind trying to deal with him, especially knowing
it's hard to make
Chauncey
us feel bad for Chauncey.
Yeah, right. But I actually genuinely am like, wow, he hasn't had it tough with much. He's had a lot of good players, but having to deal with the personality that is Deandre Ayton is terrible. If it were up to you, what would you do right now with Deandre Ayton?
I have been under the belief that there is a specific situation out there that could work for him.
Right.
I still was even hopeful it could be on this team because it's a guy who, he's a great mid-range shooter. He's a 7-footer with great touch. He's a good, roaming defender. He's a horrible paint protector, but he's like fine in space when using his length. However, I think even him at his best no longer has a place on this team. And I think that's a really important point to make here. It's because one of the things about Ayton that we even heard in Phoenix is like, man, when he tries, he's worth it. When he tries, he's good. I respectfully disrespectfully actually, disagree with that. We have now seen a year and a half of Ayton. Ayton at his best is an elite mid-range shooter.
Yeah.
Who's a great finisher and is an okay switchable big who can kind of guard like that mid-range wing space fine for a center.
Sure.
That is not a type of player the Blazers need right now. It's not a type of player most teams need right now.
Yeah.
Do I think there's some specific spots that would need that? Yes. I really think it's at the point, and a lot of people are now seeing this. Channing Frye saw this. He tweeted about it. That the Blazers, and Channing Frye's a Blazers supporter.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, he's a former player here who I think still lives here, who loves his team.
Yeah.
He's saying stop paying this man.
Right.
And he is 100% right. It is at the point where his presence on the court is detrimental not to himself, but for the team as a whole.
So I think in a way, Ayton does still serve a purpose to this team, like I said, as an innings eater. I don't think that there is a place for him in the league that is better than what he's gotten in Portland so far.
For sure. Interesting. That's interesting, yeah.
We've seen him in two instances, right?
Yeah.
And they're polar opposite of each other. There's the Phoenix Suns, which was ripe with veterans, good talent, a cohesive team that played together that was well coached and went all the way to the finals. We saw that fizzle out, right? That wasn't enough for him. Whatever.
Yeah.
Doing whatever he needed to do to make that work, he couldn't do. You take him to the Blazers. He has all of the runway in the world to score, make this his team, whatever he is that he really wants. And that is not succeeding right now because we're seeing games
100%.
like last night or even the one before or even the one before that in New Orleans where he is giving up on his teammates, he's giving up on the coaches, giving up on himself as a player and just completely bottoming out. And whether it's he knows he's doing it, whether he's just actually crazy and doesn't think that he's doing anything right are two different things. But I think we've seen, he has a ton of career left ahead of him. He's 26, but I think he's never going to find a place that is any more memorable to his career than what he's had in Phoenix and what he's had in Portland. He's never
100%.
going to find a home. His chance at a home has already passed him.
Statistically, when he tries to guard the rim, he does a good job of it.
Yeah.
He allows, when he's guarding guys, when he's contesting shots, his shooter shoots 52.7% at the rim.
Yeah.
That is very low and only 1% higher than Klingon. The problem is he's never actually there to contest the shots. It shows the ability's there, but he's now been on two teams, like you said beautifully, on opposite ends of the spectrum and has not worked for either of those teams.
Yeah. With Ayton, it's that his best is not good enough long term. But what we're seeing is that his character, this not trying attitude, this giving up, essentially, combined with his kind of lack of basic fundamentals and like grit on the court are really it's like actually bringing everyone else down. And now this is starting to become a pattern.
Yes. To give him some credit, he's been benched a lot by Chauncey.
Yeah.
But to give him some credit, he's usually responded from being benchable to being a solid placeholder. Because, again, that's kind of what his peak is being a good placeholder that doesn't ruin the team.
Innings eater.
At his worst, he ruins the team. But now we're seeing he gets benched, he comes back, he plays even worse. That's why that is where things start to spiral. And then Chauncey might just kick him out. Like, Chauncey might just change the locks. Yeah. I think the worst thing Ayton's doing is making us feel bad for Chauncey.
I know.
Here's the thing about Ayton is it's not just like the eye test. Every single advanced stat shows that we're better without him. Wow. When Klingon's in the game, we are fourth best in the league defensively. When Ayton's in the game, we are 29th. It is that big of a difference. It's not like, we're 14th when he's out of the game defensively. When he's in, it's 18th. He's having a truly detrimental effect throughout the season consistently on this team. I think we need to get rid of him, and I'm not trying to exaggerate and give a hot take. I think we need to get rid of him as quickly as we can, as easily as we can.
So do you think he's going to be gone at the trade deadline?
There's still one more team, I think, that is going to believe in him and will give up.
They'll take a flyer?
They'll take a flyer. There's still one more flyer to be had on Ayton, and maybe he'll turn his career around because, like I said, I think there's a very specific spot where he could be a jump shooting, roaming, defending big who doesn't have to guard the paint or actually fight for real rebounds on a team that's already kind of built that way. And I think it's going to happen at the trade deadline. I don't think this organization, I don't think Chauncey, and I don't think his teammates are going to be able to handle it much longer.
I think he will find his way somewhere soon. I don't think he's
Mm-hmm.
going to be out of the league whenever we let him go. I don't think we will be able to find someone who will take that flyer on him at his price right now.
Sure.
At what he's paid, at what we want. Joe Cronin
Yeah.
has proven to be, for better or worse, stubborn with trade value and what he believes someone is worth. I don't think that's going to come to fruition at the trade deadline, especially
Sure.
because we have other things we're looking at, like Jeremy Grant and Anthony Simons. People are saying have to go. I think Ayton is the first person who needs to go in terms of boosting the morale of this team. I agree with that. I'm going to choose to believe that I think it's okay to wring him out completely of every ounce of minutes of just ability on the court and just wring him like a ShamWow towel.
Nice.
To just get every ounce of good Ayton out before he completely implodes. I just hope he doesn't hurt Scoot or punch Chauncey or something on the way out, because that might happen.
Close to that.
But I think that's what's going to happen. I think he's going to stick around till the end of the season, and then we're going to, once we need to win games, and the tanking discussion is a whole other thing that we'll probably have soon, but it's okay to lose right now. Sure. Right? It's okay. Losing is okay right now. It's not what we want. It's what some people really want. Sure. So if you're out there and you're a Blazer fan who's I love the Blazers tanking right now, Deandre Ayton should be your favorite Blazer.
He should be your favorite Blazer. Okay.
Because he is not contributing to winning basketball in the slightest. He single-handedly, when they talk about baseball WAR, he single-handedly had a -1 WAR in that Nets game.
Yes,
wins above replacement. Clinging to him, he is doing a great job of tanking.
Yes.
You should want him on this team if you want to tank. I don't really want that. I would like if he's gone. I don't think he's going to be gone.
But I'm okay with him being on the team if we're losing. But he is hurting us to the point where it's this is...
It's starting to take everyone down. He's starting to ship sink the ship.
It's worse than even a tanking team would want to be.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. Blazers keep on keeping on. At least Scoot looked good.
Ayton found a way to ruin it.
Ayton found a way to single-handedly muck up a Scoot 39-point game, and that might be the most impressive thing I've ever seen out of an NBA player.